admit that we do something not exactly wrong, but wrong is good too. But if we admit that we didn't do all we thought we were going to do, it's good for the soul to admit that. So here's what happened 2 Sundays ago. If you were here, I talked about the awesome threesome. Anybody remember that? Okay. So, thank you. The awesome threesome, spirit, soul, and body. Okay. And I said that that was a trinity that each of us is. What an awesome thing it really is, that we are this trinity. And I told you about the twosome, but I never got to the third of the threesome. That's what I'm going to tell you today because it really fits in with everything else I'm going to say. So spirit then is that reality. It is the real of us. It is the God of us. And not only of us, but of everybody, of course. And it is the power and presence that fills this universe. It is changeless. It's on our side, on everybody's side. And it's available to us 24/7. That's spirit. And it truly is awesome. And we are connected to it. We are part of it. We can say we are it. So then we come to soul, which is vastly different. Soul is constantly changing. It's made up of our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And this subconscious is a storehouse. You might remember that old ad for Ragu spaghetti. It's all in there. Well, that's the subconscious mind. It's all in there. Everything we have ever done, experienced, it's in there. And when we use our conscious mind in our everyday life, we are making decisions all the time. And it all goes into the storehouse, the subconscious. Now, things that we hold in a powerful way are beliefs, because we do have strong beliefs in many, many different things. They're in there. And the passion that we have around ideas, right or wrong, they're all in there, and they then reflect into our lives and in our bodies. So let's get to the body, which is the tangible part of this Trinity. The body is really a marvelous thing. I marvel at what my body does for me. It is the home of my soul and my spirit. And so it needs to be treated with the utmost respect. But how much respect do we give to our bodies? When you look at all these sacred places around the world that we call God's houses, cathedrals and temples, synagogues, mosques, churches, spiritual centers, those are sacred places. They are God's house. Now, wouldn't it be horrible if someone came in the middle of this service, perhaps, and dumped their garbage right in the middle of this place? We'd think, are you nuts? This is sacred. You can't do that. And yet we do it to our bodies all the time. We put trash and garbage into our bodies. And I suppose there is a part of this that you and I have to determine for ourselves. What is trash and what is garbage? But you know, there's too much sugar, there's too much fat, there's too many drugs in our society. All these things are harmful to our body. And we don't think a thing of it, of putting all that garbage in. We also think that this body can survive all by itself. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we say, whoa, that's me. Yeah, it is me, but it's not all of me. But we tend to think that this is it. Do you know that this body can't even breathe by itself? There is something that runs this body and all its functions. It's like it's getting orders from somewhere. Where is that somewhere? This body is so marvelous, and yet it is dependent upon spirit. If we didn't have this connection to spirit, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be anything. I'm finding that we take our bodies for granted so much. It's amazing to me how much this marvelous body that performs all these things for me every day, I don't treat it well enough. See, I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. If you have ever doubted the existence of God, put your hand on your heart and feel the rhythm of life. The body. Let's respect it. Let's learn to treat it a whole lot better. A whole lot better than we do. And our connection with spirit is so important to this body. Because as we keep that an open channel, we are able to receive so much in the way of health and well-being. That connection with spirit can never be broken. But are we aware of it? And when we become aware of that connection, let's learn to live out of it. That's what makes our life successful. Living out of that connection with spirit every day of our lives. So there is a question, because we're still in question time, and I want to say maybe, not maybe I'm just going to say it. This is the end of questions for this year. Well, not really. I can't say that either, can I? Because we all have questions and we all need to ask them. But summertime is that formal time of questions. Well, it's the end. It's almost the end of summer, so okay. But here's the question. And this is a soul question, this person says. We've all heard the saying, sooner or later you will learn your lesson. So I wonder, this person asks, what exactly are the life lessons I need to learn? I wouldn't even begin to say what are the life lessons you need to be learning. I have no idea. Because you see, I'm learning my lessons. And it's up to each one of us to determine what those lessons would be for us. I think that the singing and Lisa, what you had to say gave us a clue. What are the things that disturb us? What are the things that take life away from us? What are the things that frustrate us? What are our dreams about? Doesn't this all give us clues? What saps our energy? What undermines our quality of life? What are the things that we have not dealt with in this life as yet? Well, maybe those are the life lessons that we have to learn. And I have to do mine. You have to do yours. If we have money that keeps falling out of a hole in our pocket, and we think that the answer to that is to go and get a second job so we can get more coins and put them in our pocket to go right through the hole again. Is that the answer? No. The answer is to mend the hole. And that's the way it is with our souls. We're here to mend the soul. We're here to build the soul. And so there are life lessons to be learned. Now, what could they possibly be? Well, the one that comes to mind is one that we think that we have to be responsible for everybody and everything in this whole world. Don't we? We're going to just take on everything. Because after all, maybe we've assumed the position of the general manager of the universe. What a thankless task that is. But I think that all of us have seen a picture or a statue of Atlas, the Roman god, who is bearing the world on his shoulders. Now, I've often thought that was admirable. Oh, look at him. Isn't that wonderful? But have you ever noticed the look on his face? He's not a happy camper. In fact, he looks as if he is totally struggling with all this weight, and he is about to cave in. Well, it's the same with you and me when we take on too much. When we take responsibility for other people's problems, for other people's lessons. We need to step back a little. And first of all, see that life has a way of taking care of itself. And if there is something for us to do, we'll know what it is and we can do it. But all the other jobs that have not been assigned to us, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. It's interesting why we think. Why do we think we have to take on everybody else's things? No, we don't. Even in our own families, we don't have to do that. It's like the caterpillar trying to get out of this cocoon. It needs to struggle. Because if it does not struggle, it isn't going to be that beautiful butterfly. Well, all of us need to have our own struggles. Yes, we can stand on the sidelines and we can encourage and we can cheer. Yay, keep going. But the struggles belong to each one of us. So the life lessons, they're for each one of us. One more that I thought of today. A life lesson because we starve our souls. I'm amazed how we starve our souls, especially in this culture today. I think of all the times that we have to have noise around us. Constant noise. Constant contact with all the other people through these devices that we hold in our hand. We are starving our souls. We take no time for quiet, just to be. Quiet contemplation, just being with ourselves. You know how wonderful that is, just to be with yourself. Starving our souls. It is said that in this culture, well, I think it's a well-known fact, that the number one cause of death is heart disease. It's a heart. It is not at ease. It's a busy world, and our heart never gets time to rest. The Chinese also have a character, two characters, that are the word busy. One is killing, and one is heart. Interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. There's also something else here that I want to be sure to tell you, because I think that we are addicted to this busyness today. And we are in denial of this addiction. Denial. What is it? Well, we have denial in the spiritual sense. Not talking about that. I'm talking about denial in our own conscious lives. In the physical sense, denial. Don't even notice I am lying. I don't even notice that I'm lying to myself. Oh, I'm not addicted. I just like to do 10 things all at one time. I just like to keep busy. It might be denial. Don't even notice that I'm lying. So there's lots of things to think about here. The Persian mystic said, if I had 2 loaves of bread, I would sell one, and I would buy hyacinths for my soul. I had 2 loaves of bread. I would sell one and I'd go buy flowers. When was the last time you bought flowers for your soul? Interesting, because there are so many things that we can do for our souls. Former Beatle, George Harrison, he lived in a gorgeous estate. And one day a woman came for lunch. Well, he invited her, of course. But she had a dear friend who didn't get to go. And so after this woman came back from lunch with George, this friend of hers said, "Say, tell me, did he talk about music?" And she said, "No, he didn't talk about music at all. Because all he wants to do is garden." You see, music still stirs his soul, but it's also a business. He wants to do something just for his soul, and that is to tend his garden. We all need to feed our souls with some kind of thing like that takes us out of this everyday realm, puts us in another realm, and lets us just be. Feed our souls. So we have life lessons to learn, and my advice would just be, get at it. Let's get at it. Life is short. And I'm speaking to me just as well as to you. All right. So, one more question that I close with, and that is one about light. Find the question. Well, I know it's here somewhere. All right. It's got to be here. Here it is. All right. Here's the question. How would you describe or explain a light body or a light being? The question comes from someone who saw a lifelike image of her long-deceased mother, who now, to her, in this light, looked very young and healthy, and her visible inside body, the way she described it to me, this part of her body especially, was filled with light. The words came into her brain, the woman now who's questioning. And the words that came were these: "It will be all right. It will be all right." And when I spoke to her, she said that was very important for her to hear. So, I'm going to say that I don't really know the answer to this. It's funny what I don't know this morning, isn't it? But there are things that we can learn about light. And I also want to ask all of you, have you seen a being of light? Have you had that experience? Okay. Have you ever seen light around anything? Okay. A lot of us. Light is the most amazing thing to me. And I want to say that as I thought about light yesterday, my head was in my hands. It's like, what have I taken on here? Light is just such a broad subject. So I want to look at it just in 2 ways, in the physical way and the spiritual way. And all the rest about light can just remain for another time. But light in the physical way is an electromagnetic radiation with a broad band, a wave of, what would be, well, it's a wave. It's a wave that includes all the light that we cannot see, like infrared and ultraviolet and X-rays, but it also includes the light that we can see. That's the physical. And then the spiritual is, light is seen as spiritual illumination. It is seen as our inner core, our inner light. And this comes from the dictionary. So now we have seen in the past that this universe, the nature of it, we always thought it was matter. It's not. The nature of this universe is light and music. Isn't it? Yes, it is. And science has now proven what sacred scriptures all around the world have told us, that we have within us and all around us unseen light and unheard music. Science and spirituality have come together to reveal to us the mystery of the universe and of our own divine nature. And it is a mystery. It is. We have light in our bodies. Every cell in our body has light and intelligence. We look in the Bible in that first creation story, and it says that light was the first act of creation. And the command was, let there be light. Have you ever thought that when you open the Bible that might be a good thing to say? Let there be light. Let me have light of understanding and wisdom so that I can understand what is in this book for me. And when we close the book, thank you that there was light. So we look at light in the physical way and also in the spiritual way. Now, light, this unseen light, we could call the kingdom of light, and we live in that kingdom. And we are the expressions of that kingdom. So now I went to a scientist, Dr. Donald Hatch Andrews, and he was also a chemistry professor. And I want to help us understand this unseen light that is all around us and in us. And so I am going to ask you then to use your imagination and to close your eyes if you want to. And if I could wave a magic wand before you and give you the power to perceive all the invisible sights around you at this moment, what would you be seeing? So we wave the wand. It also has a little music to it. And now with your inner eyes, look around you. This room is ablaze with dazzling light. The chairs, the tables, the floor, the ceiling, and the walls are prismatic crystals sparkling with 1,000 shades of red, yellow, green, and blue, such as you have never in your life seen before. Your clothes are on fire with 1,000,000 microscopic rainbow flames. Your nose, your cheeks, your hands are shining ruby, emerald, and sapphire. You open your mouth, and a shaft of amethyst light beams out before you. The air itself sparkles as if millions of miniature meteors are darting all around you, as if a cluster of skyrockets has just exploded. There is a swift rain of tiny incandescent bullets shooting down from the ceiling, shooting through the table, the chairs, through your body, and disappearing into the floor. The light is dazzling. It's fantastic. It's more than you could ever even imagine. You can open your eyes. And what I have to say is that you and I are beings of light. We have this unseen light within us. What does it say to you? Doesn't it say there's a whole lot more to you and to me than we have ever dreamed of? As I said, we see light around objects. light that we never thought we could see. This woman who had the question, she said, I was awake. It was the middle of the afternoon. I was amazed when I saw this being of light. Sometimes our cameras pick up a lot. And this was brought to the prayer service just this last Friday evening. And Enid brought this, and she explained it this way, that some friends of hers were looking for property to buy. And they took a picture of this woods, the property, and when the picture was developed, there's an angel in this picture. So I can pass it around. No, I don't think I'll do that. I'll just leave it up here, and maybe you can just look at it if you want to. I'll set it up here again. I want to be very careful with it. But just to know that there is more to this life than we know. That there's a mystery here. And we can't know all the answers. But yet I think that when we stay aligned with Spirit, we can know a lot more than we ever thought we could. When we become these clear channels, why wouldn't we receive more light? Why wouldn't we be able to radiate more light? Of course we can. When I had my experience, I need to tell you something about it. That just as important to me as seeing this being of light, that I knew who it was. And he was absolutely radiant and young and healthy and handsome. But just as important was the message he gave to me. Because that message has stayed with me to this day. It comforts me. It helps me. And at that moment, that message put an end to my grieving. It took me out of that place and put me in a different place that I needed to be in. We've all had experiences like that. And the person that asked the question, she's also said that the message that came to her from this being of light was the most important thing. And the message was, it will be all right. It's important for all of us to know that we have more powers than we think we do. We need to hold the mystery. I really don't have the answer to this question. It is a mystery to me. But let it be a mystery. Because there are times in this mystery where the veil gets very thin between the dimensions. And there are times when we are given the privilege to see. Oh no, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. There are times when we see face to face, when the veil absolutely parts, and we might only get a nanosecond, but it's enough to know that there is something beyond us that holds us in love. It's enough to know. So let's hold the mystery. And there's a verse in the Bible that I want to leave with you. Creation waits for the revealing by the sons of God. You and I are the sons and the daughters of God. Creation waits for this revealing. It's in the mystery. But you and I hold the mystery. There's so much to know. And so much we will know.